It's time to get better organized.
If you're like so many of us, you probably have boxes and boxes of old photos that just never made it into albums.
Yeah, or they're sitting on the computer as JPEGs. But hopefully today our guests can get us motivated to actually put those old photos in places where we can enjoy them and even preserve them. Ann Zanin is the organizer behind A to Z Organizing Solutions.
Now, I just think it's incredible that your name is Ann Zanin and it's A to Z.
Yeah.
I know.
Did you do that on purpose?
It was a coincidence.
It was a total coincidence. I love that.
And Matt Beyer is also our better organizer. When it's a space that you desire, you call Matt Beyer. So you guys are tag teaming this.
Yeah.
I mean, I assume that I'm not alone. Like, we just have these kind of wrinkled up photos stuffed in random books or not, or like, you know, maybe you didn't even put it in the folder, you just shoved it in there thinking you're going to organize it later.
Exactly.
And then it gets overwhelming.
Right.
Yeah.
How do you start? Where's the first thing you do?
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'll just start. The best place to start is by getting clear on your priorities, because there's a lot of different reasons you want to get your photos organized. But what's the motivator? That's going to create the focus that's going to get the job done.
What's the why?
And how did you
Exactly.
get involved? How did you know how to do this and take over?
Well, it's been a lot of practice, but there's a lot of organizations where you can find out and learn more about organizing your photos.
I was just reading a blog that some people just turn it over and they hire a professional
They
to make
absolutely
sure it's
do.
done right, which is also something you could do. But if you want to teach us at home, we're going to start. We have a picture of a house fire.
Yes.
And tell us about this.
The key with the house fires, remember that your printed photos are vulnerable.
Right.
If, for example, there's a fire or a flood or a tornado, you may never see these photos again. They may be destroyed in a fire.
You never think about that.
Exactly. And then you have the huge boxes of photos that are in your grandmother's attic, and no one knows who anyone is in any of the pictures. That's a
like
really
this. Yeah,
like
you
that.
have this. And so what do you do about that? How do you figure out who they are?
Well, and that's why it's time to get it done now, before our parents are passing away or grandparents, so that they can tell us who all these people are.
And Matt, you want to set goals.
Yeah. I mean, getting clear on why you're doing it, that's what keeps you going. And because, like I said, there could be a lot of different reasons, and get clear on that, because that's what's going to pull you through. Because it can be kind of overwhelming. It's a lot
That's
to
your
go
why.
through.
And maybe
Yeah,
your
exactly.
why is you just don't want the mess anymore. But accessibility, so you can find them when you need them.
Yeah.
A life event, like you just had a baby or someone, you know, passed away and you want to organize something for them.
Exactly.
I mean, think about those times, and God forbid there's a funeral and everyone's like, we need photos, and you don't know who they are.
I know, it's terrible.
But ultimately, the goal in organizing your photos is making sure that you have accessibility to them. That it's the retrieval, just like in any other organizing process. You want to be able to retrieve.
But this should also be a project, not viewed as a task.
Absolutely.
This should be, right. So tell us a little bit about
Right.
that.
So I mean, if you try to think, oh, I can knock this off in an afternoon, forget it.
No.
You know, so work out the logistics first.
Right.
So what's, you also say once we get these old photos together, we should be scanning them to make digital copies of them?
Absolutely. Photos like this will fade, or they'll get curled, or they've been put in photo albums and
That
they're
looks
torn on the
familiar.
back. So this is scanning them is the best way to make sure that
They're not getting any
these are
better like
preserved.
this.
Where did you get a picture of the King family? Do you remember the King family from Sunday morning television? Do you remember?
Believe it or not, that is myself and my
Is
four
it really?
siblings. Yes.
Okay, that is fantastic.
One of 5 kids.
I love it. That's great.
Yes.
So we got to start somewhere, and you say the first step is we're looking at all these messy photos, right? We've got a photo of what maybe your house looks like with messy photos all at home. So you want to get everything in one place?
Exactly. So you're basically, tomorrow would be a great day to get started with this.
Yeah.
You're stuck at home with the blizzard coming. You've got all your kids. They can go and start culling the pictures from their drawers, their junk drawers. Any photo albums can all be brought together in one place.
And you say split them up into ABCs? Can you,
Absolutely.
Can you explain that?
So the A photos are the ones you definitely want to keep, like the picture of myself with my siblings, or these old pictures like with my grandparents in it where you want to make sure that you preserve those. Your Bs are going to be the ones that are torn or sticky on the back that maybe somebody's not necessarily paying attention while you're taking their picture. Those are ones that you may not have another picture of this person, so you hang on to them just to make sure. And if you find another one, then you can discard that. Your Cs are your automatic discards, all the ones that are blurry.
I'm so afraid to do this. I'm afraid it's going to go and I'm never going to see it.
Well, I think the older it is, the more rare it is. You're probably going to keep it no matter what. But you know, now and today, if you print it out to your digital camera, there's probably 4 things of each person.
Right.
You know,
Exactly.
So you say
some
get
are
rid of it if
horrible.
it's discolored or
If it's or if it's a duplicate, or if the head's cut off. I mean, sometimes heads are cut off, but the other people are fine. You can crop those. But So that's your C's.
Like an example of one we get rid of, we've got a picture here, we've got blurry eyes and things like that, heads cut off, those are kind of,
Exactly.
get rid of it.
Automatic C's, but the B's I think are good for the ones that you're not sure about. It's like I can't quite get rid of these yet, but it's like all right, maybe they don't make it to the album, but all right, we'll keep them in the box.
And can you still get an album out there?
You can. You can buy, a lot of people still do traditional scrapbooking, such as in this, but the new and the most improved thing to do is to use a photo book like this.
These are really
They're
nice.
so much nicer, they're so much clearer, and they take up a lot less room. And this is one that I did for my parents for their 50th wedding anniversary.
And
58th,
really
I'm sorry.
order, you can just, at the quantity, when you're checking out, you can order 5 and give it to everyone in the family.
Exactly.
Now, I've heard also
Great
that
gift.
photo albums are not the best, and we should be using photo boxes.
Ultimately, scanning them in is the best way to do it, and having them in a digital format. Photo boxes, anything that's acid-free is good.
Okay, make sure they sell special ones, I guess.
Right.
And that you could
Correct.
organize it on shelves if you don't have, you know, that.
Well, thank you for both for being here. I feel very organized and I'm ready to start my project, not my task. You can learn more about Ann Services. That's at A2, the numeral 2Z, organizingsolutions.com.
Thank you.
And you're available to do it for people if they would rather just turn it over to you.
Thank you.
All right, Scott?
All right, and as always, you can get some great organizing tips and learn about Matt Services at mattbeyer.com. If it's space you desire, call Matt Beyer.